This question appeared in IES 2023 paper. Question number 2b. It's an econometrics question. So you're given with this equation yi hat is 2.2 plus 0.11 x1I plus 3.48 x2I plus 0.34 x3I. The figures in the parentheses are the standard errors, and ESS is 112.5. Residual sum of squares is 19.5. Sample size is 80. There are three parts of this question. Let's do them one by one. The first part says calculate r square and r bar square. So what is the formula for r square? R square is 1 minus RSS upon TSS, right? Total sum of squares is RSS plus ESS. Residual sum of squares plus explained sum of squares. That is 19.5 plus 112.5, and that comes out to be 132, right? Just plug in the values. R square is 1 minus, what is RSS given to you? 19.5 upon 132. And that thing is going to give you 1 minus 0.147. That is 0.852. What is R bar square telling you? R bar square is adjusted R square. So it is 1 minus R square n minus 1 upon n minus k, where k is the number of independent variables. So here in our case, how many independent variables you have? 3. Variables, right? So it becomes what? 1 minus 8.542, which you have already calculated, 0.852, and sample size is 80 upon. So this thing comes out to be 1 minus 0.147 into 79 by 77. 0.1508, which comes out to be 0.8492. In the next part, they say what is the significance of the slope coefficient by using t statistic at 5% level of significance. So you have the model. Yi hat is beta naught hat plus beta 1 hat x1I plus beta 2 hat x2I plus beta 3 hat x3I. So you need to calculate the individual significance of beta 1. So we will say that the true value is 0, and it is not equal to 0. So when you test for individual significance, what you actually do is that you say that individually it is not significant. So not significant means 0, right? But in case if it comes out to be significant, that means it is not equal to 0, right? So your null and alternative hypothesis you have written, you will write the test statistic, which is beta 1 hat minus null of beta 1 upon standard error of beta 1 hat. So what is beta 1 hat? 0.11 minus 0 upon, what is the standard error of this? 0.005, and that comes out to be 22. You are also given in your question what is the critical value of t. So that comes out to be 1.98, right? So if the calculated t, which is 22 in your case, comes out to be the critical value of t, critical value of t is for 0.9, so because you're checking for 5% level of significance for these many degrees of freedom, n minus number of parameters. So there are 4 parameters which are estimated: beta naught, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3. So n minus 4, that is 76. So if calculated t comes out to be greater than critical t, you reject the null hypothesis. Null hypothesis of what? Null hypothesis of no individual significance. So what is TC coming out to be 22. What is T star? 1.98. That is greater than this. So you reject the null hypothesis of no significance and conclude that the coefficient, this guy, x1i, is individually significant. Is individually significant, right? Then again, you will calculate for beta 2. So what is the null of beta 2? That it is equal to 0. Alternative is that it is not equal to 0. Calculated t is beta 2 hat minus beta 2 null of beta 2 upon standard error of beta 2 hat. What is that? That comes out to be beta 2 hat is 3.48 minus 0 upon standard error of beta 2 hat is 2.2. That comes out to be 1.58. Critical T is 1.98. And if the calculated T comes out to be more than critical T, then you reject the null hypothesis of no significance, right? So in our case, what is the calculated T? 1.58. What is the critical T? 1.98. So critical T is more than the calculated T. You do not reject. Do not reject the null hypothesis of no significance and conclude that x2i is not individually significant. Is not individually significant. I'm so sorry. Individually significant. Individual significance of beta 3, again you will write the null of beta 3, which is beta 3 is 0. Beta 3 is not equal to 0. Calculated T is beta 3 hat minus beta 3 upon standard error beta 3. You can also write that this is distributed as T with n minus k degrees of freedom. So what is beta 3 hat? That is 0.34 minus 0 upon 0.15. That comes out to be 2.26. So because calculated T is 2.26, it is more than critical T. So you reject the null hypothesis. You say you reject the null hypothesis of no significance, and you say that the x2i, not x2i, x3i is individually significant. Is individually significant. Then the question says that test the overall significance of the model at 5% level of significance, right? So first of all, you write the unrestricted model in which all the variables are there. So what is the unrestricted model? Y is equal to beta naught plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2 plus beta 3 x3 plus u. The restricted model or super restricted model in this case is that you just have the uh, intercept and all other terms you assume to be 0. They are not individually significant. So that is the super restricted model. So you will assume beta 1, beta 2, beta 3 to be 0. That is what you want to check. Overall significant, jointly significant. So H naught is beta 1, beta 2, beta 3 is equal to 0. At least one of them is not equal to 0, right? So in order to use the F statistic formula, you need to find out the RSS of U and RSS of R. RSS of U, it is already given to you in the question. This one, that is given to you in the question. You need to find out the RSS of R first, right? To get RSS R, we first need to minimize. भाई तुम यही तो करते हो ना? You, this is what, this is your error term here, residuals. So you find out the residuals, square them and sum them, and then you minimize the sum of squares. That's what you are doing. So it is yt minus beta naught square. So you need to find out that value of beta naught hat, which is going to minimize w summation of wt square. What is summation of wt square? The sum of squares from sum of squares of the residuals from the restricted model. That's what you're trying to find out. So what is this coming out to be? Minus 2 summation of beta naught hat. So beta naught hat is going to be equal to summation of yt upon n, right? Okay, let me just not assume a lot. So it is summation of yt minus n beta naught hat equals to 0. Because ये -2 तो कैंसिल हो जाएगा, इसको समेशन में खोलोगे तो you will get n. Summation of yt upon n, that is y bar. Right? So you've got beta naught hat as y bar. So what is summation of this guy? That is nothing but RSSR. That is summation of yt minus y bar. ठीक है ना? Beta naught की जगह you'll write y bar. But what is summation of yt minus y bar का square? The total sum of squares of the unrestricted model. Right? Guys, this is not the entire lecture on this, right? I mean, I'm just trying to solve the question. So there are so many things in between which is going on. So the formula for the F statistic is RSSR minus RSSU divided by degrees of freedom of R minus degrees of freedom of U whole upon RSSU divided by degrees of freedom of U. But in place of RSSR, now you can write TSSU minus RSSU divided by DFR, degrees of freedom of R, and degrees of freedom of U. So what is the degrees of freedom of U? N minus K, no? That is what the degrees of freedom of U. Big K parameters chale gaye na, because in estimation they have gone. N is the number of variables K. So you have N minus K degrees of freedom in unrestricted model. यहाँ पे सिर्फ एक पैरामीटर गया है. So यहाँ पे कितनी डिग्रीज ऑफ फ्रीडम है? N minus 1 डिग्रीज ऑफ फ्रीडम. ठीक है? और यहाँ पे restrictions कितनी है? K minus 1 restrictions. So you can just write it. What is it that you will be getting? N minus 1 minus N minus K whole upon RSS U divided by what is this? DFU is how much? N minus K. तो ESSU, इसको खोलो, क्या आएगा? n-1 minus n plus k, so it is k minus 1 whole upon RSSU divided by n minus k. तो ये डाल सकते हो बेटा वैल्यूज. What is ESSU given to you in the question? 112.5, RSS is 19.5. ठीक है, वैल्यूज डाल दो. 112.5 divided by 4 minus 1. There are 4 restrictions. 4. I mean, beta naught, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3. RSS कितना था? 19.5 divided by 80 minus 4. And approximately this will come out to be 146.39. 146.39. So you reject the null hypothesis of no overall significance. तुमने क्या null hypothesis रखा है? beta 1, beta 2, beta 3 all 0. So reject the null hypothesis of no overall significance if FC is greater than F star. Calculated F is greater than critical F. Calculated F कितना आया तुम्हारा? 146.39. Critical F कितना given है question में? 1.35. Right? So therefore reject H naught. H naught क्या था? That beta 1, beta 2, beta 3 are jointly 0. Overall significance is 0, but that's wrong. ऐसा नहीं है. So reject H naught and conclude that the model is jointly significant. That the model is jointly significant. Yeah, beta. Okay, thank you.